Well, it's a Monday morning with me, Kevin. Matt is not here, unfortunately. He was busy. So we've had a couple of weeks now not doing shows together, but we promise you guys we're still friends. We will be back with you hopefully next week. It's just how it is. Life is busy, life is tough. Sometimes it's hard to get the times to work out together. He and I usually record on Sunday afternoons or evenings on my side. So it's Sunday morning for him. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Hopefully you guys understand, but we also hope that everyone is having a nice Monday morning. And again, as Matt would be enjoying a cup of coffee. Me too. I think Matt does Dunkin' Donuts. I tend to make my own coffee. The coffee at my work is not very good, so I try to make it before I go. I drink Lavazza. I don't know if you actually even have that in the States. Maybe. Do you have Lavazza coffee from Italy? It's good. I like Italian coffee. Not sure it compares to, say, Colombian or whatnot, but it's just kind of easier to get here and high quality and certainly gets the job done. But I tend to drink two cups of coffee a day. I don't know if anyone cares, but anyway, I want to get right into it because I'm not going to just dilly dally around since I don't have Matt here to dilly dally around with. So two things that I think are I don't want to say life changing, but I think culture shifting just happened over the weekend, and I actually really believe this. Um, or at least you see the culture shift in these things that happened. One of them was the speech of JD Vance in Munich to the Security Council, I believe, of Europe. And the other is a fight in a hockey game between the US and Canada. Now, I want to start with the hockey game because I think it's better to end on the JD Vance one because it's a little more important than a hockey game, but maybe not. And I know not everyone likes fighting, and I know I'm not saying that violence is the way, but sometimes good old fashioned brawling, I think, personal opinion, is a good thing. You need guys need to beat each other up sometimes. And especially if they're two men who are, of even size and whatnot. And especially if you're doing it for the right reasons, right? If you're doing it to protect the honor of your mother or your sister or your country. So that's what happened. The U.S. is playing in Canada, and the I think it's called the competition of four nations. So I think I should have looked more into this, but I think it's going to be Sweden, Canada, U.S. and let's see, let's pull up this article here. I only just saw this story. I just got home today on a Sunday. Um, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, I have to talk about this. So it's at the Four Nations tournament. Who else is there? USA, Canada, Sweden. So the US will play against Sweden anyway. So whoever the fourth team is, I don't know. Maybe it's Russia. I'm not sure. Probably one of the other best teams. So anyway, what happened? So in the game, and this has happened recently as well, the Canadian fans booed during the American national anthem. And so due to that, several of the American players said, okay, you know what? Enough. You're going to boo our during our national anthem. You're going to disrespect our country. Then, quite literally,
and the gloves are off. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel.
As you see, guys getting at it. Let's get forward a little bit because it happened again. As soon as one penalty was called, the guy went up and like, okay, let's go. And I think the two guys who are fighting they must be brothers.
Bennett in the lineup for the first time. Brady gets the better of this one.
See, he's happy about it. Throw down. And I just,
Bennett,
again,
8 years a teammate.
this is like the most American thing I have seen in years. That makes my blood pump, man. I mean, I am pumped. Like, these guys cared. Hey, their national anthem, our country was being disrespected. It's like, okay, let's throw them down. And even better, the USA went on to defeat Canada 3-1. So they put their money where their mouth was or where their fists were, and they won and just put to rest perhaps the whole, booing and disrespecting of our national anthem. Now, if you want to be upset with America, because I know Canada has plenty of issues right now and they have had a terrible government and they're paying for that with tariffs and whatnot, or they have the threat of tariffs. And so, and I know some of my Canadian friends are not happy with what Trump's doing, but do you do it during the national anthem? I don't know. There's just there's something that's kind of sacred about that. It's like you don't tear down another nation's flag. I mean, okay, if you're at war or something, sure, but if you're at a sporting event, there's a certain amount of rivalry and there's a certain amount of anger that you can show, but there's also you got to have some decorum. And if you're gonna boo during the national anthem, I love it that these guys went out there and beat the heck out of Canada. I love it. I know Canadians watching this probably don't, especially that. Well, your hockey team just got beat by a bunch of youngsters from America. So sorry about that, guys. Connor McDavid and all of the other stars, I guess they're not good enough to beat your American upstarts. And I just love that. And I think it fits in well with the second story because I just think there's a change in the momentum. There's a change in, I think you can even say masculinity. I'm that's just, man, I'm going to start watching hockey. I'm not a big hockey guy. I like hockey. Live hockey is about the best sporting event there is. Just the atmosphere is just incredible. And I honestly think a lot of the time the fights are pretty dumb. I just think they're unnecessary and silly. But this time, you're going to go duke it out because you're defending the honor of your country. Man, I love that. We need more of that stuff. That gives me goosebumps, man. This is awesome. Let's do this. Let us go and bring back that pride. These guys going out there, putting their faces on the line because of their country and the love they have for it. That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, we need more of that as a country. And if it's at the expense of Canadian hockey players, then all the better. All the better. I mean, come on. Let's bring back some patriotism. Let's bring back some love of our country and some manliness. If you disrespect us, you better be ready to get punched. I love it. I know not everyone's going to love it. It's going to be controversial. I know there's going to be plenty mothers out there listening to this who are not going to like it. Maybe turn it off for your children. I'm not saying punching people is good, usually. I just think this is the case. This is one of the few cases where a little bit of bloody knuckles is a good thing. I love it. I love it. I love what it says for our country. And I think I hope this type of thing brings the country together. I know that sounds silly, but I think it could. I really think it could. And yeah, I guess we will see. Now, up next, as I got to keep this fairly short today because, kids got to bathe and all that stuff. But even more importantly, and this happened pretty much the same day, I think, or right around the same time. This just happened. The speech of J.D. Vance, really it was in Germany, so it was in Munich. You see the Munich Security Conference. And I'm not going to play the whole thing. It was about 20 minutes long. I highly suggest everyone to go out there and watch it, the whole thing. It's fantastic. And I'm going to just play a part of it. And then I'm going to, give my own comments. But just listen to a little bit of the Vice President of the United States.
Big way to provide for its own defense. The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America. Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too.
I love this. I'll talk a little bit about Vance here in a minute, but Vance here, so the German elections again are next week, they're next Sunday. And so this is no coincidence he's talking about this and warning about this. I think this is a clear shot across the bow from Trump, from Vance, saying, if you mess around with the election in Germany, like you did in Romania, which, the EU, they'll just mess around in these things and then, pretend like they're the good guys. if you mess around in this, you're in trouble. I think this was a very clear. There are several things they're talking about here, but really, if you listen to the whole speech, it's partly just like kind of a smack on the wrist, like, hey, you guys are pathetic. You're pathetic. Your countries are pathetic, and fix it. Figure it out. We all want to get along. We all want the best, or I shouldn't say we all. I think he knows they don't, but I mean, the countries should want the best for themselves and their people, right? And in America, and he says too, Vance says too, it's like, not like America's perfect. America has just many of the same issues which we're trying to fix. Though there's some that are obviously worst in Britain and whatnot, where you can't even pray silently in front of an abortion clinic, which is insane. Let's watch a little bit more of what he has to say.
Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. Now, within living memory of many of you in this room, the Cold War positioned defenders of democracy against much more tyrannical forces on this continent. And consider the side in that fight that censored dissidents, that closed churches, that canceled elections. Were they the good guys? Certainly not. And thank God they lost the Cold War.
So again, what he's doing here is he's comparing the people in this room, the people of Europe, to communists. And you know why? Because they are communists, and what they're doing is just as bad as anything communist Russia ever did. I love this. And I'll end there. You guys got to go watch the whole thing if you haven't seen it. It's just phenomenal. And it's amazing because what he says is not that extreme. It's just someone's finally saying it. Someone's finally being the big boy in the room. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what I love. Just the way he acts. He's composed. He's calm. He's even kind. I think he's actually seemed fairly, I don't know, humble, but he's not like Trump. He's not kind of go out there and calling people names or whatnot. He's very calm. He's very mature. He's very respectful. I think that's the word. He's respectful. But he is laying into this group of leaders, and it's unbelievable to watch. And just the way he acts, and his beard, he's a man, and he's up there as the second, or the vice president, second in command, I guess, of the most powerful country on earth, probably going to be the president in 4 years. He will certainly be the Republican candidate unless something crazy happens. And in that case, if you look what's happening right now in the Democratic Party, it's going to be Vance, unless, who knows, it's a long ways away. But right now, I'd say it's going to be 90-10 that it's going to be Vance as president. But it's a long way. I get it, guys. I understand that. But, just that fact. And someone so I obviously live in Germany. And so I had a bunch of my friends today after mass, talking about this speech and saying how much they loved it and how amazing it was just to see someone act like an adult, and everyone's like, can he be the president of Europe? Can he come to Germany? And pretty cool. And that's our guy. That's our guy who is using the power that America should have and the way they should use their power. We are a power, maybe the world power. Now, that doesn't mean you go and colonize. That doesn't mean you go and act as the world police or go and destabilize countries like Syria, which we've been doing for the last decades. No, you do what they're trying to do right now. You get out of everyone's problems. You say, except for Israel, I get it. I know. I understand. I'm with you guys there. I think they need to get out of that problem too. So I disagree with their entire stance on Israel right now. But generally, they are saying let's fix our own problems in our own area. So let's get the Panama Canal back. Let's buy Greenland. Let's shape up Canada. This is good stuff. This is important, and absolutely necessary. And I think that's, again, it's just a beautiful thing to see. We have real men in charge of our country right now, I think. And if you can hate Trump and what he stands for, sure. Can he be a jerk sometimes? Sure. This guy, look at him. He's polished. He's respectful, but he's in there laying the hammer to some of the, the most important military people on earth. And he's just talking no nonsense. He's up there saying, hey, pretty much you guys have acted like a bunch of idiots, non-democratic idiots. And he's like, hey, this isn't going to work anymore. He doesn't say that straight up. That's what he's saying. That's what he's implying. Like, this isn't, guys, there's a new sheriff in town. This stuff ain't going to stand. I would not be surprised, guys. I would not be surprised if they, I don't know if they're going to pull out of NATO, but I could see them really saying, really at least threatening them. Like, you guys shape up. If you keep trying to disallow valid elections in Romania, Germany, perhaps, then bye. We're not going to be here anymore. We're gone. We're totally gone. We're out of NATO. We're out of all of these pacts, and you can fend for yourselves. And you know what? Anyone seen the German military lately? Yeah, bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. And there's no future for it. You know why? Because they stopped having babies years ago. And their response for that was to bring in a bunch of illegal immigrants who can't do anything. So, yeah, good job. Really nicely done. So, we have a lot of old people from the boomer generation. No more babies, no more youngsters. So, yeah, who do you think is going to go to the military? Yeah, Mohammed from Afghanistan. Are you going to sign him up? Yeah, right. So, Europe and Germany is in trouble if the US says, fine, all right. You guys going to mess around? Then we're done. And I think that's awesome. That's awesome. The US can really use their power to say, shape up, act like actual democracies, even though, guys, I don't really love democracies. But anyway, we do the best with what we have. And I mean, let's at least make it fair. I love it. I love it. I seriously, and I really mean this. Right now, in this moment, I feel more proud to be an American than maybe my entire life. Maybe. I'm trying to remember when I was more proud of something. I don't know. I mean, 9/11, I was young. I was like, what was I? 12? So I remember it, but it didn't really impact me. I wasn't gonna go join the military because of it. I don't know what other thing have we been that proud of in the last 30 years, 35 years that I've been alive. And just again, you look at the miracle that was 1980. It was 9 years before I was born. The Miracle on Ice. So the team that went in and defeated Russia in New York. But in my lifetime, what can we compare to that? And maybe it's an American hockey team going in and beating up Canada for booing our national anthem. Maybe it's JD Vance acting like a man and getting up on stage and saying, hey, figure it out or else. Stop acting like idiots. Use your common sense. If you keep jailing people for praying outside abortion clinics, then we're done with y'all. Ciao. I could not be happier about this. I think it's unbelievable. It's a great day for America. And I think that means it's a great day for the Western world. I truly mean that. This is a step towards actual freedom. Now, I know, again, we can get into the whole Catholic version of freedom, which is the true freedom. I understand that. But I mean, the ability to do what is right. You should have the ability to pray outside an abortion clinic. Of course, the abortion clinic should not have the ability to exist. Of course, again, I agree with all of that. So one step at a time. And if we're moving in the right direction, if we're moving towards common sense, I'm telling you, that type of thing. So you start with saying the person can pray silently outside of an abortion clinic, and then people can pray loudly outside an abortion clinic, and eventually the abortion clinic cannot exist because eventually common sense must lead you to the conclusion that a baby is a human inside the belly and out, and you cannot murder it. It can't exist. That's where common sense leads. It does. If you start on this road, it's a good road. I'm not saying it's a perfect road. I'm not saying we're there yet, but that's where it leads. And you see where we are right now. Again, we're so far down the path of communism, insanity, where you can't even silently pray outside of an abortion clinic. Let's take the wins when we have them. I will take the win of America punching in the face of Canada, who booed our national anthem, and I will take the win of JD Vance going and laying into these pathetic world leaders and telling them, you fix this stuff up or else handle it all on your own. And then when Putin invades, good luck, because America ain't going to be there. And I am here for it. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Are you a fan of fights in the NHL? Are you a fan of the NHL? I'd be curious to hear it. And do you think, is there a good time to fight? And if there is a good time to punch someone in the face, is it this? Is it right when the Canadian hockey fans are booing during the national anthem? Do you think that's right? And what do you guys think of JD Vance? Is he going to be the next president in 4 years? And if so, are you happy about it? We'll see you next week. Matt will be here as well. And, or I hope, I guess we'll have to find out, but we should be here together, and maybe we'll see what he has to think about these two topics as well. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And we will see you all next Monday. God bless.